Hi everyone, my name is Abby and I am Congressman Bacon's press secretary, and we are here to talk about Congressman Bacon's work specifically on the House Armed Services Committee. So Congressman Bacon, you serve on both the House Armed Services Committee and the House Ag Committee, two important committees in the House. For 60 years, HASC has fulfilled its constitutional responsibility by providing for America's defense by passing the National Defense Authorization Act. Many people don't know much about the NDAA. What is it and why is it important?
So every year we pass the authorization bill. So the Appropriations Committee, they appropriate the money, they say how much you're going to spend, and the authorization that says how it's going to be spent. It also tells the military or the services, you put money over here or spend this, or it gives policy guidance to all the services. And so it's actually a pretty lengthy process all year long. We're putting this together. So is the Senate. We both pass it, then we got to meet and sort of reconcile the differences. This year they're about 95% the same, so it won't be too hard. Probably reconciled after the election. But in the end, it lays out guidance to the military in law, what they have to do, what they can't do, how they're supposed to do it, how they're supposed to spend their money.
And you are very active in investing in our nation's armed forces, and this July HASC passed the fiscal year NDAA for our fiscal year 21. What are some of those things in this year's NDAA that will be beneficial for our nation's military?
Well, first, I did serve nearly 30 years in the Air Force. When I got out, we had a military that was really struggling. Because of budget cuts from the previous administration, and I think called the sequester, our military was struggling while they were getting cut while they were in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, and they didn't really have the resources to align up to the most current threats, which is really China and Russia. And so we were struggling, and so we were able to replace 60% of the cuts that was done in the previous administration. Not full restoration of the cuts, but 60%. And I think we're in a very healthy spot. So this year, the authorization is for $740 billion, which raises the spending even with inflation, which is about right. And so one of the highlights of this is that we're going to be pushing the modernization of our nuclear deterrence, which needs to be done. Some of our nuclear deterrence is 60 years old. B-52s, Minuteman III, intercontinental ballistic missiles were all made in the 60s, and we have to start modernizing. And nuclear deterrence is job number one. We don't want a nuclear war, but you have it by having a very deterrent force. I'm proud of some of the things that we've done for our servicemen and women, policy changes. So for example, I worked with Jackie Spear, a Democrat from California, on Safe to Report. We want normally women to be able to report safely if they've been assaulted. And I'm a 5-time commander. I've seen it where you have an underage woman who's assaulted when they've been drinking, and not under my commands. I never would punish or do the punishment for underage drinking in that situation, but I've seen where it was done in other commands. And so then women don't want to come forward and report an assault. And so I made sure that I never did that as a commander, 5-time commander. But now I'm on the board for the Air Force Academy. We made that the policy at the Air Force Academy. And we now want to make that service-wide, or military-wide, all the military. And so I want to get this bill passed where it protects women who maybe done a minor infraction, but in the process get assaulted. They need to be able to feel free and to safely come forward, because we want to get a predator off the streets and behind bars.
What would you say, looking forward, what else can we do, or what would you like to see in the next year's NDAA?
I'm really proud of the work I've led on our intelligence capabilities in the military, our electronic warfare capabilities. We've really turned the corner, and we've made great progress the last 4 years. So I've been the lead advocate in all of Congress on those two areas, and I'm proud of it. I've also been a lead advocate for preparing for pandemic response. Even before COVID, I've been working for years, so from the very beginning. How is our nation prepared for a natural pandemic like we have with COVID, or biological attack, say from other countries? We got to be prepared for both. And so my main effort for the next 2 years is I want to get the funding to build the surge capacity so that our country can respond to the next pandemic. And UNMC is a perfect place to build that prototype where we can, in a pandemic, expand 1,000 or 2,000 beds and have that capability. And we want to build some of those locations all over the country, where UNMC being one of the first. And so that's going to be my main focus, is to get this program off the ground. It'll be a public-private partnership, about $2.2 billion. We've already raised 1.1 billion locally in the state. The federal government's got to do its part, and I'm going to try to lead those efforts.